Cincinnati's playing a huge role when it comes to developing a vaccine for COVID-19. WCPO 9 News anchor Kristen Hartman found out that while this is tough, it's not a mission impossible. Kristen.
That's right, Tanya. So you've probably heard about the Moderna and Pfizer trials. Well, two major institutions located right here are leading those vaccine trial efforts.
Or do you plan to receive any in the next 14 days?
At a glance, what you see here just looks like something that happens in a doctor's office, but it is so much more than that. The patient is actually a human test subject receiving either a placebo or a trial vaccine that could repel COVID-19. Cincinnati Children's and its Gamble Center for Vaccine Research
is really a preeminent vaccine testing center in the United States.
Is a site for the Pfizer trial.
When people do have new vaccines, they oftentimes will ask us to test them.
And test they are. The process relies on volunteers willing to try something that could have side effects, although so far our experts say those have been mild.
Looks good. Okay.
Still, study participants are stepping into the unknown. For Jane Corey, who also works at Children's, the motivation is simple.
We need a vaccine desperately, especially for medical care workers and first responders. If I can help by taking part in the study, that's great.
People like Jane are also enrolling in the Moderna study locally.
I feel that I think the risk is minimal and the potential benefit is great.
Its clinical trial entered phase 3 this week. UC Health is one of about 100 sites involved nationally. Like Children's, it has reliable research history.
Can you tell me what you've learned thus far?
With the Moderna vaccine in particular, we know that when we give the vaccine to people, it generates a response in the body of making antibodies to attack the coronavirus. So that's exactly what you want.
In the most general sense, a successful vaccine will target the spike protein on the virus.
I view it like the spike being able to embed in you. And
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
It sticks into our receptors.
Okay.
And so that if you block that, so the way that any receptor works is that there has to be a place where it has to bind. And so if you block that surface of the spike, it can't bind, it can't get in, it's blocked.
We are better at science in the year 2020 than we were in 2019 and better than 2018. And so we're learning how to develop potential vaccine candidates much more quickly than we ever have in the past.
It's fast, but he says there is no cutting corners in deliberate phases. The first always focuses on safety with a small number of subjects to make sure there are no significant side effects. The second increases the participant pool to look at antibody response. The third phase is about efficacy and how well the vaccine protects from infection. The process involves blood draws and checkups, and science dictates some people will get a placebo.
If you have 100 people in the placebo group get disease and 10 get disease in the vaccine group, then you can say your vaccine was 90% effective because you only have 10 versus 100, right? So it prevented 90% of the cases.
Lots of work going into this. And even as Children's moves into phases 2 and 3 of the Pfizer vaccine trial, it is scheduled to also perform trials for pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. That project will also involve the National Institutes of Health. They all do. It's expected to start next month. Craig?